You are welcome here, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter what your background. You are welcome here to join us as we proclaim worth in our spiritual journeys. You're welcome to join us as we sing songs that uplift our very beings. We welcome you. I'm Eric Tschuy. I'll be your worship leader today. Eastrose acknowledges that for at least 13,000 years, many tribes and bands have made their lives here, where our church home and our communities now exist. We remember and honor these people who made their homes in this land, the ones here now and those who lived here before. In peace, may we share this land and honor one another. Let's take a moment now and greet each other here today, both in the chapel and online. So first, please stand and face the cameras by the clock on the back wall and wave hello to our friends online. And next, turn to your neighbor and say hello. This is a great, enthusiastic reading. I love it. We get a chance to continue after the service, and we haven't yet announced, but at the potluck too. Now, for our online guests, if you would like to share a joy or sorrow during that portion of the service, you can do so by entering it in the YouTube chat, and those will be shared aloud with everyone. I also encourage you to identify yourself in the chat so we may better acknowledge your presence with us today. And next we're coming to the responsive call to worship. It's called The Limits of Tyrants by Frederick Douglass. And the green is the call, that will be me, and the white is the response. That's what you will be responsible for reading. Okay. Those who profess to favor freedom and yet deprecate agitation are people who want crops without plowing up the ground.
They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want the ocean without the awful roar of its waters.
This struggle may be a moral one, or it may be moral and physical, but it must be a struggle.
Power conceives nothing without command. It never did and it never will.
Find out what people will submit to, and you will find out the exact amount of injustice which will be imposed upon them.
The limits of tyrants are prescribed by the endurance of those whom they oppress.
Powerful words. According to the National Park Service, the Statue of Liberty's official name is Liberty Enlightening the World. The Statue of Liberty's torch is a symbol of enlightenment. It lights the way to freedom and shows us the path to liberty. May our Unitarian Universalist chalice likewise light in us a thirst and a hunger for enduring justice and freedom.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good to see you all in this nice, cool space. Nice to have some cool spaces. Our opening words today is the poem I Hear America Singing by Walt Whitman. It was written in 1860, around the same time that Frederick Douglass wrote the words of our responsive opening reading, The Limit of Tyrants. And this is what Whitman said in 1860. I hear America singing, the varied carols I hear, those of mechanics, each one singing his as it should be blithe and strong. The carpenter singing his as he measures his plank or beam. The mason singing his as he makes ready for work or leaves off work. The boatman singing what belongs to him in his boat. The deckhand singing on the steamboat deck. The shoemaker singing as he sits at his bench. The hatter singing as he stands. The woodcutter's song. The plowboy's on his way in the morning, or at noon, intermission, or at sundown. The delicious singing of the mother, or of the young wife at work, or of the girl sewing or washing. Each singing what belongs to him or her and to no one else, the day what belongs to the day, at night the party of young ones, robust, friendly, singing with open mouths their strong, melodious songs. In that vein, we will sing our opening hymn. It is considered by some to be the African American national anthem. It's Lift Every Voice and Sing, number 149 in our gray hymnal, and the words will also be on the screen. Please rise as you are willing.
Thank you.
Good morning. Today's story is called The President of the Jungle by Andre Rodriguez, Larissa Ribeiro, Paul Desqualdo, and Pedro Marcan. Imagine a jungle where the animals are having their very first election to choose a leader. Lions, monkeys, snakes, all running for president. Can you imagine them giving speeches, putting up posters, shaking paws, and trying to win votes?
That would be weird.
It would be weird.
I would vote for snake.
This is a story about democracy. Democracy means that everyone gets a say in making important decisions, like choosing a leader. In our story, every animal's voice matters, from the loudest roar to the softest squeak. All creatures have a chance to be heard. This relates to our shared UU value of justice, which includes making sure that everyone has a voice in our community. We believe in the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process. Just like in the animal election, we think it's important that everyone gets a chance to speak up and be listened to. So let's see how the animals learn about voting and making sure every voice counts. The president of the jungle. Lion wanted a swimming pool. So because he was king of the jungle, he rerouted the river to flow into his front yard. Now he had his pool. The other animals were not happy. They missed their river. Lion had gone too far. Maybe he should not be king of the jungle. The animals decided to have a demonstration. They marched to Lion's swimming pool to protest. But Lion couldn't care less what they thought. So the animals decided it was time for a new leader. They said, no more kings. Let's be a democracy. Let's hold an election. What's an election? Owl explained, in an election, anyone who wants to be the leader can become a candidate and put together a campaign. Each animal gets to vote for the leader. The candidate who gets the most votes becomes president. Everyone liked the idea, so they drew up the rules for the election.
Okay, maybe monkeys could draw, but snakes, no. Owls, no.
Maybe. Monkey, sloth, and snake were excited to become candidates. Lion didn't want to be left out, so he became a candidate too. Then the campaigns began. Each candidate got busy trying to convince the voters why they would be the best leader. They went on TV, took selfies with voters, handed out pamphlets, and discussed the issues. They held rallies. Some said wild things about the other candidates. They put up posters and discussed more issues. They had debates to talk about their ideas, and sometimes they just argued. Finally, election day arrived. The animals lined up to cast their secret votes in the ballot box. Owl was in charge of counting the votes. Unfortunately, Lion got disqualified for violating rule number 6. He had been giving voters peanuts so they would choose him. When the votes were added up, the new president was announced. It was Sloth. The animals all gathered to hear Sloth's victory speech. In this election, I learned so much from everybody. We each have something to say, and we all should listen. Lion wants to be recognized for all his work. Monkey wants us to have food and shelter. Snake and I agree we're stronger when we work together. The first thing I will do as president is create a team to help us make the jungle a great place for every animal. And that is the story of how Sloth became the jungle's first president. Of course, not everyone was happy with the election results, so it was a good thing that there would be another election next year. To build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community in our congregation or in society, the democratic process is necessary to ensure everyone gets a say in decision-making. And now we'll leave Reverend Robin and the adults to discuss this more while we head back to our classroom. So if the adults along the center aisle will form a bridge, we'll sing the children out.
Again, I invite you to uncross your arms and close your eyes and put your feet on the floor and take a very big exhale. Drop your shoulders, relax your jaw, and just breathe. 4 beats in slowly through your nose, and 5 or 6 beats out slowly through your mouth in a steady rhythm, creating spaciousness from the crown of your head down to the soles of your feet. Feel yourself grounded, and also feel yourself upwardly free, almost like there's a string on top of your head pulling you up into a straight position. And just breathe. No high thinking, no problem solving, no what do I look like with my eyes closed, just relaxing and breathing, letting that create spaciousness in you as you breathe. While you breathe, I offer these words written recently by my colleague, the Reverend Lynn Unger. She opens her heart in saying to us, "You are not wrong to be furious. You are not wrong to be scared. You are not wrong to wonder what we do today and tomorrow. You are not wrong to notice the brilliance of the sky. You are not wrong to think of your children and grandchildren. You are not wrong to imagine people you will never know. You are not wrong to believe this doesn't really affect me and know it really does. You are not wrong to look for pictures of puppies or kittens or flowers or trees. You are not wrong to massage the ache out of your own heart. You are not wrong to hide under the covers in your bed. You are not wrong to turn to your neighbor and say, "What do we do now?" Let's continue to breathe for a while together. Slowly and gently come out of your breathing and back into this space. Finish with one big exhale. Just see if you can release it all. Our quiet song is number 159 in the gray hymnal. This is our song. Please remain seated.
Oh,
This is a poem, a fairly long poem by Langston Hughes, Let America Be America Again, and it was written in 1935. Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer on the plain, seeking a home where he himself is free. America never was America to me. Let America be the dream the dreamers dreamed. Let it be that great, strong land of love, where never kings connive nor tyrants scheme, that any man be crushed by one above. It never was America to me. Oh, let my land be a land where liberty is crowned with no false patriotic wreath, but opportunity is real and life is free. Equality is in the air we breathe. There's never been equality for me, nor freedom in this homeland of the free. Say, who are you that mumbles in the dark? And who are you that draws your veil across the stars? I am the poor white, fooled and pushed apart. I am the Negro bearing slavery's scars. I am the red man driven from the land. I am the immigrant clutching the hope I seek and finding only the same old stupid plan of dog eat dog, of mighty crush the weak. I am the young man full of strength and hope, tangled in that ancient endless chain of profit, power, gain, of grab the land, of grab the gold, of grab the ways of satisfying need, of work the men, of take the pay, of owning everything for one's own greed. I am the farmer, bondsman to the soil. I am the worker, sold to the machine. I am the Negro, servant to you all. I am the people, humble, hungry, mean, hungry yet today despite the dream, beaten yet today. O pioneers, I am the man who never got ahead, the poorest worker bartered through the years. Yet I'm the one who dreamt our basic dream in the old world, while still a serf of kings, who dreamt a dream so strong, so brave, so true, that even yet its mighty daring sings in every brick and stone, so brave, in every brick and stone, in every furrow turned, that's made America the land it has become. Oh, I'm the man who sailed those early seas in search of what I meant to be my home. I'm the one who left dark Ireland's shore and Poland's plain and England's grassy lea, and torn from black Africa's strand I came to build a homeland for the free. The free? Who said the free? Not me? Surely not me. The millions on relief today? The millions shot down when we strike? The millions who have nothing for our pay? For all the dreams we've dreamed, and all the songs we've sung, and all the hopes we've held, and all the flags we've hung, the millions who have nothing for our pay except the dream that's almost dead today. Oh, let America be America again, the land that never has been yet, and yet must be, the land where every man is free, the land that's mine, the poor man's, Indians, Negroes, me, who made America, whose sweat and blood, whose faith and pain, whose hand at the foundry, whose plow in the rain, must bring back our mighty dream again. Sure, call me any ugly name you choose. The steel of freedom does not stain. For those who live like leeches on the people's lives, we must take back our land again, America. Oh yes, I say it plain. America never was America to me, and yet I swear this oath, America will be. Out of the rack and ruin of our gangster death, the rape and rot of graft, and stealth and lies, we the people must redeem the land, the mines, the plants, the rivers, the mountains, and the endless plain. All the stretch of these great green states, and make America again.
I think you all know, who have heard me preach now for over a year, that I like to find some humor in my subject. I wasn't able to find any humor in this subject. Just telling you, there won't be any jokes. In November of 2004, I embarked on a memorable journey with my son Sam, who was a high school senior at the time. At the urging of the UU Ministers Association, I signed on as an election protection volunteer alongside other ministers, lawyers, social workers, and citizen activists like my UU-reared son. I chose Youngstown, Ohio off the list of possibilities in order to tack on a short visit with friends and family in Pittsburgh, and also because there was a strong need. The location had been earmarked since many of the poor urban neighborhoods there, populated largely by people of color, were vulnerable to election day shenanigans. Sam and I rented a car and cruised through the stitched crazy quilt of verdant hill towns in western Pennsylvania and rusted out hamlets with ghost buildings running along the highway into eastern Ohio. Sam took black and white 35mm documentary pictures all during this sojourn that he later curated as a collection for a senior year photography project. He is a professional photographer today. Once we arrived in Youngstown, we boarded with the minister of the UU Church there at the time, the Reverend Susan Frederick Gray. It was her very first settlement, and she was bursting with enthusiasm and on fire about social justice, and as we know, she still is. One could discern then the passion she would later bring to her justice ministry in Phoenix and her role as our most recent former president of the UUA. After the debacle of the 2000 presidential election with the infamous hanging Chad in Florida and other corruptions, electionprotection.org was born to safeguard fair voting in 2004. Volunteers now for this effort are called poll peacekeepers. Following a day of training, we were ready. At the polls on election day, we stood sentry at the door, ready with our flip phones to call the appropriate contacts when irregularities arose, and they did. They say my name isn't spelled right and I can't vote. They say I'm dead. They say I already voted. I got this flyer on my door that said voting was postponed until tomorrow. Is that true? It was an eye-opener, but nothing compared to the intrusions and malfeasance we have witnessed since, and especially in the 2020 election. Its run-up and its corrupt aftermath, especially the horrifying assault on the Capitol and the details of how a sitting US president instigated an insurrection. Voter suppression exists to this day. I don't think I'm telling you something you don't know. It may not look like the iterations of the 1930s or the 1950s, but it is there nonetheless. Gerrymandering, closing polling places in traditionally black neighborhoods, casting doubt on the integrity of poll workers and voting machines, and in the first case, leading to death threats. And need I even point out that our democracy is more fragile and vulnerable than ever? Some folks believe we shouldn't be talking about politics from our pulpit, that it violates the separation of church and state. But that amendment, it's not about politics. It's about constitutional law. In truth, politics and faith have been woven together from the beginning of civilization itself, and certainly from the founding of colonial America. The native people, the ones who we lift up in our land acknowledgement, they have always linked their spirituality to their governance, and they are inherently democratic, a word that originates, by the way, in ancient Greece, and the principle of demos, meaning people, and kratos, meaning rule, or the rule of the people. This linkage pertains to us, too, as UUs. John Adams, our second president, one of the framers of the Constitution, cornerstone of a new nation, was a Unitarian. In fact, the Unitarian Church in Quincy, Massachusetts, is called Church of the Presidents, and John and Abigail are in the basement in a crypt. And it's a National Historic Site. You can take tours with a ranger and everything. Yes, we have had our share of barn-burning Brahmin orders, but mostly we have shown a lot of restraint and decorum because that type of thing, well, it's not sophisticated. Not anymore. There are boundaries. In order to maintain our nonprofit status, I and any other preacher is meant to be prohibited from endorsing a candidate from this pulpit. So you will not hear me give a campaign speech. We cannot have candidates speak to us from the pulpit or even have a meeting in the building in which they promote their campaign. We UUs may show some restraint and respect for boundaries, but this rule has not stopped some evangelical pastors who brazenly submit that they are not just free, but divinely called to elevate politicians, especially our former president, to an almost Christ-like status. This baffles and disturbs me. The alarming meld we've seen of nationalism and evangelical Christianity is front and center in the crassly named Patriot Church with its flag-painted roof in Knoxville, Tennessee. The pastor, Ken Peters, doesn't follow the rules. He openly promoted Donald Trump from his pulpit and expected his flock to follow suit. He threatened them if they didn't. Then he himself marched on the Capitol on January 6th, 2021. He believes mainstream Americans, liberals especially, us definitely, quote, can't stand Christian culture, and that Christian culture is American culture. And these beliefs are very hard to separate these days from partisan politics. He goes on to say, hold on to your hats, I think President Trump is a miracle. I think God picked Donald Trump, an imperfect vessel to be champion of the people. It makes one wonder if his flock believes in democracy or instead really yearns for a very narrow theocracy guided by QAnon conspiracy theories and a white, blue-eyed prosperity Jesus who never existed. You want to hear more about this? Listen to the podcast called Straight White American Jesus. It's chilling, but informative. Despite this perversion of the gospel at its true heart, because Jesus would never have preached anything like these pastors, religion is essentially, it's about values, it's about principles, making it detrimental to avoid bringing it into the pulpit, especially when your congregants don't affirm a common creed but have shared values, shared principles. Our own fifth principle states, we affirm and promote the right of conscience and the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. When we support something like the For the People Voting Rights Act, we are affirming that principle in real time. It is embedded in our ethos. It is an expression of our faith. In his Berry Street address at our General Assembly in 1942, so you can kind of place that in history during World War II, the Reverend Jacob Trapp noted that democracy is, quote, a dream that springs from the heart, from our longings and aspirations. It involves a faith and sponsors a cause, namely liberation from despotism, from dictators. It has its great prophets and poets, and it has its martyrs. And he emphasized that, quote, the bold vision, the poetry, the vista of possibilities of the religion of democracy is needed by our churches, our UU churches, for their spiritual revitalization. The Reverend A. Powell Davies, who was one of our most renowned ministers, served All Souls Church in Washington, D.C. in the 1950s. He was successful in having the democratic method identified as a nationwide core value of faith. For him, democracy was both a moral aspiration and a saving force for America. Still true. And in November 2004, the day before the election, I helped protect then UUA President William Sinkford, the first person of color to serve in that role, emboldened and encouraged us with these words: the democratic process is an act of faith, not faith that any one point of view will prevail, but faith that the will of the people will point us toward beloved community. Not only is democracy an act of faith, he said, it is an imperfect process. Still true. Thus, as UUs, our faith calls us to oppose the forces that seek to thwart democracy. We must be decent and engage our first principle too, affirming the worth and dignity of others. This and freedom, they go hand in hand. You cannot have freedom without responsibility, whether it's here in this congregation or in America. Thus, as UUs, our faith calls us to oppose the forces that seek to thwart democracy. In his book, Why Religion is Good for American Democracy, Princeton scholar Robert Worthnow argues, in a nutshell, democracy is an antagonistic enterprise in which we contest one another's ideas. We can't argue with that. And religion can contribute to that kind of democracy because it does encourage people to contend with what they truly value, what they truly believe, and clarify the values at stake. The thing is, as Oliver Wendell Holmes said many years ago, it is one thing to have an opinion and another thing to form one. And we do need to take the time to really figure out what we value, what we believe. That's part of the process. If only our exchanges across beliefs and ideologies could be more stable, more civil, less vitriolic, less righteous, less labeling, more about listening for understanding than agreement, this is a mountain to climb. Again, to those who argue that we need to stay out of politics because we're a religious organization and I should just be up here talking about the beauty of flowers, how wonderful it is, how hope is so great, I ask you, if we do, will Christian nationalists, will evangelicals who want to remove all reproductive freedoms from women, will they not stand up and talk about these things? Will neo-Nazis who want to expunge Jews from our society, skinheads who want to ship everyone but white Americans out of this country? To be clear, I am not only against the 10 Commandments being posted in our classrooms, but also our 7 UU principles. Freedom of religion means freedom from religion, if desired. That is what Jefferson insisted on. He never suggested we be a Christian nation. He even mentioned, quote, Jews, Hindus, and Mohammedans, misspelling both Hindus and Mohammedans, by the way, in his doctrine of religious toleration. He was very clear about this. I realize I have a choice, as you do, but if I choose to stay safe on the sidelines or get under the covers and pull them up over my head, if I hide and I remain safe and silent, I would really need to ask myself where I lost the commitment of my calling along the way and became wholly self-absorbed over these past 30 years. In the book and series The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood, I see myself in the populations targeted by Gilead. I'm a Jew, I'm a loudmouth woman, I'm a member of the liberal clergy. I would most definitely be on the wall. It's chilling and real with the dawn of the latest fascistic blueprints like Project 2025. We're all wringing our hands and clutching our pearls over the debate. This is what we should be paying attention to. Project 2025. As the historical record shows, democracy has been a tainted and incremental process from the beginning. At the outset, women, people of color, Native Americans, former slaves, and others without the right to vote were not included under that billowed, much vaunted tent of democracy. Earlier, Eric read Langston Hughes's opus, Let America Be America Again, written in 1935 during the Depression by one of our most esteemed African-American poets. At that juncture, Hughes would not have had the right to vote, and how germane and fresh that poem sounds today, right? Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. And then that refrain, that lament that you don't see coming. America was never America to me, he tells us. Has much changed? Would Hughes redact this lament in 2024? I don't think he would. Would he recognize an America where Jim Crow still impacts democracy? Yes, I believe he would. Would he cringe at an America where the term Antifa, which is actually short for anti-fascist, is branded as unpatriotic and woke? I imagine so. I think he would be gobsmacked. There is quite a bit of debate about whether Langston Hughes was an atheist or an avid and eclectic churchgoer. What he cared about, though, when you read about him, is he cared about salvation in the here and now, a very universalist concept for himself, for people of color, for America, and his goal was to articulate our nation's highest hopes and deepest fears, honestly, poetically. I can only speculate how he would answer this question. Is religion good for democracy? I think he would reason that religion can help us access our highest selves and activate them for good, to bend towards justice, to be decent and fair. Even so, Hughes's refrain, America was never America to me, it shocks us out of our mythic view of America, the one we still cling to, a place welcoming the tired and poor, the land of opportunity for all, a solid century for democracy, like the lady in the harbor. Are we still holding to that view in 2024 with the threat to our democracy so real, so brazenly out in the open? Now, these threats are not new. They're just more overt and well-funded by conservatives, evangelicals, and openly nationalistic fascist groups, and easier to disseminate through social media. Let's not forget the past and the echo of the moral majority, focus on the family and political voices like Rick Santorum and Mike Huckabee. It's not new. If you want a chilling example of how not new this all is, Listen to Rachel Maddow's podcast, Ultra, or read her book on the same subject called Prequel, An American Fight Against Fascism. In it, she offers a chilling account of how, in the 1930s and 40s, fascists plotted to overthrow Congress from within, and about the influence of a burgeoning neo-Nazi movement in America, led by such popular radio mouthpieces as the virulent anti-Semitic Father Coughlin. This all happened. Why aren't we learning about this? Why is this not part of the history we learned? Some say we are due for a fascist interlude in America. Our democracy is young, it's fragile, and nearly every democratic society in history has at one point been fractured and corrupted by fascism. The latest iterations are bold-faced and explicit. Look at what's happening in Europe. Look at what's happening in Israel, Hungary. Just look around the world. But especially here with the blueprint called Project 2025. Spearheaded by the ultra-conservative Heritage Foundation, it is a dystopian nightmare that they wish to implement in the first 180 days of a potential second Trump presidency. And this project is not a couple of policy wonks or finance bros holed up in a DC office building. It's more than 100 right-wing groups and a huge web of wealthy, dark money funders. And it's meant to be implemented only by executive order without any consent from Congress. Say a prayer. Just a couple weeks ago at our General Assembly, the delegates approved a set of shared UU values. We had a meeting about that last week where we talked about them. And they're now on our website, by the way. You can see a link right on the homepage. We are a values-based, non-creedal religion. The preamble to these shared values say, we are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. There were some quibbles over the word accountable, that it is somehow coercive, but I disagree strenuously with that interpretation. If we are not moved to be accountable to each other, here, out there, accountable to our imperiled democracy, then I need to ask myself and ask you, why am I here? Why are you here? You could be out to brunch right now in an air-conditioned restaurant. Why am I here? Why are you here? If it is only to inspire myself for myself, then this is a social club. The very essence of humanism is the idea that we take what inspires us out into the world to co-create a more beloved community. It's active, creating a beachhead for goodness to repel evil and injustice, to repel things like Project 2025. The Rabbi Hillel famously posed this question way back in the 1st century CE. If I am not for myself, who will be for me? And if I am only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? This quote emphasizes the importance of individual responsibility and seizing opportunities for positive action. There are many quiet and loud ways to engage in positive action, which mobilize our shared values as Unitarian Universalist. To keep it in-house, you can join our Eastrose Good Trouble Gang. You're going to hear a little bit about that today. Or you can investigate the UU the Vote initiative online, UU the Vote. Other organizations include Vote Forward, Swing Left, specific action groups like GLAAD, Planned Parenthood, the ACLU, the NAACP, and the Anti-Defamation League, just to name a few. Nearby, there is East County Rising, and statewide, there are initiatives like Oregon UU Voices for Justice. You might investigate the organization called Faithful Democracy, where I got my title today, a multi-faith community of organizations and congregations who share the moral imperative of repairing and preserving our democracy. They support a broad array of democracy reforms to create fair, functional, and healthy democratic systems that align more closely with our founding democratic ideals and which are more reflective of our citizenry. And the UUA is a signatory organization. Walt Whitman tells us, "I hear America singing, the very carols I hear, singing with open mouths their strong melodious songs." May our collective voices, our collective UU voices, our collective American voices, rise up in a robust oratorio of freedom rather than in a sorrowful requiem for a dead democracy. Daylight is burning. May we be brave. Blessed be, blessed we, and amen. Our final hymn is number 1018 in the Teal hymnal, "Come and Go With Me." Please rise as you are willing and able.
Half of each week's Sunday collection is shared with a local organization doing good works in our area. Another way that we can contribute at this time. This third quarter, our Sharing the Bounty partner is Outgrowing Hunger. Outgrowing Hunger builds and operates community farms and gardens for refugees, immigrants, and people who care about affordable access to real food in Portland and Gresham. Nadaka Park Community Gardens, with the 62 plots, is one they operate. If you are a first-time visitor, please let the basket pass you by. You are our guest today. We now gratefully receive the gifts of this congregation. And now Reverend Robin will extinguish the chalice. The reading is excerpts from Democracy's Benediction by Lucas Hergert. We are democracy, unruly, unfinished, unrelenting people of rebellious joy, underground resilience, simple hope. Democracy, today we will love you alive, make you ours, make you thrive, and vote as though our hope is on the line.
I'll finish us today with another poem by Langston Hughes. This one was written in 1949, so 14 years after the first one. It's called Democracy. He says, democracy will not come today, this year, nor ever through compromise and fear. I have as much right as the other fellow has to stand on my 2 feet and own the land. I tire so of hearing people say, let things take their course. Tomorrow is another day. I do not need my freedom when I'm dead. I cannot live on tomorrow's bread. Freedom is a strong seed planted in a great need. I live here too. I want freedom, just as you. Blessed be. I'd like to invite Karen Pyle to come up and say a few words about the Good Trouble Gang.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so Therese and I got together earlier this year, and maybe it was the end of last year. Anyway, with our concern about the threat of our democracy, crumbling. So she has really been instrumental in getting us organized for the postcard writing effort we're doing. We partner with Activate America, and we're helping people get infrequent Democratic voters to cast their ballots. So this has been a lot of fun to do. We do it in groups. We do it at our home, and we do it here, and it's created a nice camaraderie and a lot of fun. We added a little education piece, and we've had a speaker educating us about the Constitution. So that was very valuable too. So I just invite you to join us and help us preserve our democracy, because everybody's action can help.
Thank you, Karen. You're doing something today, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right. We're having like after the potluck, we're having a postcard writing session. So join us, it's fun.
Thanks. Thank you, Mary.
want to point out that Ernest Bloch, the composer, was from my hometown of Geneva, and also lived for several years here in our own Oregon town of Newport. So great connection there. The announcement that was in the pedals that is not going to happen, the Cluster of Congregation picnic was to be today at 3 o'clock. It's not going to happen. It's just going to be a broiler out there on Hoon River. So don't go. But we do have our potluck here right after the service. And if you did not bring anything, that's no problem. There's plenty of food. Just make yourself at home and enjoy the company and the food. And after that, Tara will be having outside games with the kids. Hopefully it's not too hot. So probably the same time, I imagine, as the postcard writing. Other announcements. The Eastrose hikers are changing it up a little bit this week. That's this coming Wednesday. Part of our easy hike will be done in silence to allow us to deepen our experience of being out in the woods. So this is very hard for UUs, I understand that. But it will be silent. Meet here at Eastrose before 8 a.m. on Wednesday and contact Patty Walsh, who's by the door there, by Tuesday. 8:30. Did I say something else? I'm sorry, 8:30. Not to worry, it's not 8 o'clock. It's 8:30. So contact Patty by Tuesday if you are coming. And moving down the week, on Friday, there will be our snowcap service session, 3 to 5. And I guess it's probably the same place, the same activity.
If anybody has questions, call me.
Yep, Keen is right here. And then later on Saturday, July 20th, will be the Eastrose work party from 9 to 12. You trim, you rake, you pick up trash, make the place look beautiful. And it looks very nice afterwards. And all hands on deck are needed. And I think that is it. Are there any announcements from online? No. Okay. Yeah, Katie?
Unless you have other ones to do. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I will. Hi, I'm Katie Norris. I'm the new board president as of July 1st. Thank you. I didn't expect this to be my first act as president, but it was called to my attention that we have an ongoing issue with people spending the night on our property, which we have tolerated a lot over the last few years. And I was concerned because there's a camp that's on the south side of our building that has become completely inhabitable. It's not a place where someone should be living. And there's no water, there's no restroom, there's no anything, right? So, and it's become a hazard to our building. So I went and did some research and with the city of Gresham, and I found someone to help me at the city of Gresham, taxpayer dollars at work, that this person came and spoke with our camper and let her know that there are resources available to her. And actually, she's full aware of what resources are available. So this is not a new situation for this camper. So anyway, this started a in-depth conversation with the board and with Reverend Robin and Sherry. And we have our baseline policy in place now, which is very simple. We are going to follow city policy. And so city policy says that you cannot have people camp on your property without written permission for greater than 72 hours every 30 days. But we're not going to allow that to happen, because what happens is people bring their things and they leave them here, and we spend lots of effort and money in cleaning it up. And the cleanups include needles and things that we shouldn't be handling, and we don't want to leave in the garbage, or it takes a great effort to do this cleanup. So the policy is we are not going to allow people to spend the night on the property, or we will trespass people who are doing things that the city believes is unreasonable, like unreasonable noise, violent or threatening behavior, interfering with use of the property, littering, using alcohol or drugs, damaging the property, engaging in gang activity, committing a criminal activity, and violating the Gresham Revised Code, which I'm referring to when I talk about the, we can't have people camping on our property. So we are now going to, I'm working with the city and the board, and we're going to ask, we've asked our camper to leave. We trespassed her, which means we notified her of trespass. And we gave her enough days to actually move her camp out. But, you know, there's a heat wave going on, and the camp is deeply entrenched. I mean, there's a lot out there. So I have the city coming to meet me on Tuesday here, and we're not just going to call the police and make them come escort her off the property. We're going to meet with the city, look at the camp, see if she's gone or not, because that was the deadline we gave her. And if she's not gone, I'm going to follow the city's guidance. So if the city has an idea about how we should handle it, I will go with that idea. Otherwise, I think we wanted to tolerate maybe up till Friday, so that, because it will cool off a little bit and maybe it'll be easier. But I have to say, in the days since we gave the notification, the written notification, and today, the trash has grown exponentially. So I don't want you all running out there to look, but it's significant.
Jump in and say, please do not engage with the camper?
Yeah. So just so everyone is really clear, we are going to publish our policy in Petals, and we will have packets that we give to campers when we are telling them that they must leave, that give shelter information. We may include bus passes with that. I'm going to talk to the city about what would they recommend, you know, because we don't want to just say out. We want to say, there are resources available to you. Here's what they are. Here's a bus pass so you can get there, and you are notified that you cannot stay here. But we also want to, you know, be able to welcome, if they wanted to come to church here and wanted to abide by our covenant, they can. So it's just a matter of, you know, we welcome them in that regard, but none of us can camp on this property, and none of us can authorize anyone to camp on this property.
Thank you, Katie. I want to thank you for handling this so well, so efficiently, so professionally, and representing us so well. You know, maybe it's time for us to do another care bag project. We did so well the first time. We made so many of those care bags. Or if you want to sponsor a bus pass, buy a bus pass and bring it in, we can give those out. If you want to give more cash for those care bags, that would be great. And these are ways we can safely and legally help people in need.
Thank you, Katie. Okay, the service is now ended. And, oh, Linda.
Just an announcement and underlining, Robin mentioned in the sermon about Project 2025.
Yes.
This is something to learn about. The Nation magazine, current one, is all about it. They have a 900-page book called Manual for Leadership. It's totally written out about destroying democracy.
Okay, so the current nation.
And there are lots of places now where you can go online and read a summary of 2025. Thank you, Linda.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for that.
The service, Cheryl.
One more, another pitch. We need helpers. If you drink coffee, we need helpers to sign up to make coffee. The sign-up boards are here in the hallway, also to clean up after, to rinse the coffee pots, and to sign up for flowers too. We've got it in Petals every week, and we still need people every week because we keep coming every week. So please sign up. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. I'm going to ask people.
Keith brings flowers every week.
I'm going to ask people to please next time, remember to fill out these
One more
forms.
announcement, and then we should really head to the pop-up.
Just in addendum to coffee, if no one signs up to make it or clean it up, the same couple of people end up doing it. And we are very thankful for those people, but also that's an additional workload on folks who are already in the building a lot.
And it's not democratic.
Okay. Okay.
Soon, people.
So, have coffee,
Thank you,
attend the
Eric.
potluck, and
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, John and Luna. Thank you to our greeters today. Let's go enjoy some social time.